Imagine just staring at a cold computer screen. The clock is just relentlessly ticking down.
It's stressful.
Right. You have exactly 36 seconds. 36 seconds to read, decipher, and solve a complex geometry problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe, identify some deeply buried historical fact that could decide the trajectory of your entire career.
Yeah, that pressure is real.
So how do you keep from freezing? How do you command that chaos? Well, welcome candidates to this series on the Virtual Educational and Exam Preparation Hub. We wish you well on your hunt for a satisfying government dream job through successful appearance in the SSC CGL Tier I exam. This is a curated model paper for practice for the upcoming SSC CGL Tier I 2026 exam.
And it is just an absolute privilege to be sitting down with you today. We know you are prepping for an intellectual marathon, and, well, we are going to be right here by your side.
Exactly.
Guiding you through every single step of this high-stakes journey. So, take a deep breath. You are completely capable of mastering this.
You really are. Today, we're unpacking a complete 100-question model paper, specifically paper 02R for the SSC Combined Graduate Level Examination.
Right.
And our mission isn't just to hand you an answer key. We want to show you the underlying mechanics of how to arrive at the correct choices smoothly, efficiently, and with total confidence.
Because efficiency is just everything here. Let's clearly define the blueprint of what you're up against.
Yeah, let's lay it out.
This is a computer-based examination. You're facing 100 objective multiple-choice questions broken down into 4 distinct sections.
Right, A, B, C, and D.
Exactly. Section A is general intelligence and reasoning. Section B is general awareness. Section C is quantitative aptitude. And finally, Section D is English comprehension. Each section carries exactly 25 questions.
And here's the true constraint, right?
Yeah.
The invisible enemy in the room is time.
Always.
You had exactly 60 minutes for the entire paper. 1 hour, 100 questions. When you do the math, that gives you roughly 36 seconds per question.
Precisely. And the examiners, they've set up a strict penalty system to really test your nerve.
Oh, the negative marking.
Yes, you earn 2 marks for every correct answer, but and this is a critical detail, you lose half a mark for every wrong one.
Wow.
So guessing wildly is just a trap. It's actively punished.
So this is not just a test of your rote knowledge, then. It's a psychological test of rapid decision-making, risk management, and kind of letting go.
Exactly. You have to know when to strike, and more importantly, when to walk away from a trap.
Which is exactly why we're approaching this like elite tutors today. We're going to journey sequentially through all 100 questions.
Every single one.
Starting right now with Section A, all the way to Section D at the end. We'll group them by theme so you can see the matrix the examiners are using, but we are not going to skip a single one.
No skipping allowed. We will explain how the answer is derived, how to spot the traps, and, how to manage that ticking clock.
I love that. Let's fire up the sequence with Section A, General Intelligence and Reasoning. Questions 1 through 25. I always think of this section as the logic engine.
Ooh, the logic engine. That's a perfect metaphor.
Thanks. It tests how quickly your brain can, recognize an underlying pattern and relentlessly apply a rule.
And it's the ideal place to start your exam because it warms up those cognitive faculties. The very first block, questions 1 through 5, deals entirely with analogies and logical deduction.
Okay, what's the strategy there?
The strategic tip here is to isolate the relationship in the first pair, build a simple bridge sentence in your head, and then aggressively apply that exact same bridge to the second pair.
Okay, let's test that bridge strategy on question 1. The prompt asks us to find the relationship author is to book, as composer is to what?
Right.
And the options provided are symphony, painting, poem, or statue. Now, if I'm rushing, my brain just screams art. How do I avoid guessing the wrong art form?
Well, you avoid it by building that precise bridge sentence we just talked about. Ask yourself, what exactly does an author do to a book?
They write it.
Exactly. An author creates the text of a book. So the bridge is creator creates medium. Now, take that bridge to the composer. A composer creates the music of a what?
A symphony.
Precisely. The only musical medium in your options is a symphony. A painter creates a painting, a sculptor creates a statue, but a composer creates a symphony.
That structural thinking really completely eliminates the ambiguity.
It does.
Okay, moving from that first analogy to question 2, we have another word analogy. Bird is to nest, as bee is to what? Options are hive, web, den, or burrow.
Build the bridge again. What's the specific relationship between a bird and a nest?
It's where it lives.
Right, it's a creature to his dwelling. A bird lives in a nest. Apply that strictly to the bee. Where does a bee live?
A bee lives in a hive.
Yes. The spider gets the web, the bear gets the den, the rabbit gets the burrow. You lock in on hive and move on. 36 seconds is plenty of time if you have that framework.
Now, we shift gears slightly from words to numbers in questions 3 and 4. Question 3 gives us 6 is to 36 as 8 is to what? The options are 64, 48, 56, and 72.
So the examiners are testing your mathematical recognition here. When you see 6 and 36 together...
It's a square.
Exactly. Your brain should immediately flag it as a square. 6 squared equals 36. The rule is simply square the first number.
So apply that to 8. 8 squared is 64.
Perfect.
And question 4 follows a similar logic, but raises the stakes a bit. 4 is to 64 as 3 is to what? Options are 27, 9, 81, and 12.
Right.
If I'm not careful here, I might see the 4 and 64 and think, oh, multiply it by 16.
And that is exactly the trap the test maker is hoping you fall for.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. If you multiply 3 by 16, you get 48, which thankfully isn't an option here, but it easily could be. You need to look for powers first.
Powers.
Right. 4 to the power of 3 4 cubed is 64. That is a much stronger mathematical relationship than just multiplying by a random constant. So the bridge is cube the number.
Okay, so 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27.
You got it.
Rounding out our analogies, question 5 brings the alphabet into the engine. BD is to FH, as JL is to what? Options are NP, MO, NO, and OP.
For letter clusters, you want to measure the alphabetical shift. B advances to F. If you count that out, C, D, E, F, that is a shift of 4 letters forward.
Okay.
Now check the second letter to confirm the rule. D advances to H, E, F, G, H, also a shift of 4.
So the unbreakable rule is plus 4.
Exactly. Apply it to J, and LJ plus 4 is N, L plus 4 is P. Your answer is NP.
That wraps up the first 5 beautifully. Moving seamlessly from analogies, we shift into questions 6 and 7, which deal with classification.
Basically finding the odd one out.
Right. Question 6 asks you to select the odd one out from these 4: triangle, square, circle, and rectangle.
So this tests your grasp of basic geometric properties. What do a triangle, a square, and a rectangle have in common?
They all have straight sides.
Yes, they're all polygons. They're constructed using straight line segments that meet at sharp vertices or corners. A circle is fundamentally different.
Because it's round.
Right. It is a continuous curve with 0 straight lines and 0 vertices. It is the clear outlier.
Got it. Question 7 applies that same odd one out logic to numbers. Select the outlier from 80's 8, 27, 64, and 100.
This ties back perfectly to the number analogies we just did. Look at the properties. 8 is 2 cubed, 27 is 3 cubed, 64 is 4 cubed.
Oh, they belong to the family of perfect cubes.
Exactly. 100, however, is 10 squared. It is a perfect square, not a perfect cube. It breaks the pattern, making it the odd one out.
That's sneaky.
It is. A smart tip for you. Always memorize your squares up to 20 and your cubes up to 10. It will save you precious minutes on this exam.
That is a fantastic tip. Now, we transition into series completion for questions 8 through 12. Question 8 asks for the letter cluster that logically continues this series: A, CE, then BDF, then CEG. What comes next? Options are DFH, DEF, EGI, and DGH.
The trap here is trying to look at the relationship inside the cluster, like A to C to E.
Yeah, that takes too long.
It's much faster to look at how the clusters move from one to the next. Look at just the first letters of each cluster: A, then B, then C.
So the next one has to start with D.
Right. Now the second letter is C, then D, then E. The next is F. The third letter is E, then F, then G. The next is H.
The entire 3-letter cluster is just sliding one position forward in the alphabet.
Exactly. So the next cluster is DFH.
Question 9 is a classic number series, but a famous one. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. What comes next? Options are 13, 11, 12, and 15.
This is the legendary Fibonacci sequence. The defining rule is that every term is created by adding the 2 terms immediately preceding it.
Okay, so 1 plus 1 gives you the 2.
Yes. 1 plus 2 gives you the 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8.
To find our missing number, we simply add the last 2 available numbers. 5 plus 8 equals 13.
Perfect.
Okay, let me pause and push back here for a second. If I am sitting in the exam hall, the clock is ticking, my heart is racing, how do I spot a Fibonacci sequence quickly versus just a standard addition or subtraction series?
That is the exact question you should be asking.
Yeah.
The trick is to look at the delta, the difference between the numbers.
Okay.
In a normal addition series, the difference is usually a flat constant, like adding 3 every time. In a Fibonacci sequence, the delta itself is growing, and more importantly, the delta mirrors the sequence.
Interesting.
But the absolute fastest visual cue, look for the stutter at the start.
The stutter.
Yeah, seeing those two ones right next to each other at the beginning, 1, 1, 2, is the universal fingerprint of Fibonacci. If you see that stutter, you know exactly what you are dealing with.
That stutter tip is brilliant. Okay, let's look at the deltas in another series for question 10. 100, 96, 88, 76, 60, what is next? Options are 40, 44, 48, and 36.
Let's map those deltas. From 100 dropping to 96, the difference is -4.
From 96 down to 88, it's -8.
Right. From 88 to 76, it is -12. From 76 to 60, it is -16.
So the amounts we're subtracting are not constant, but they are predictable.
Exactly. They're increasing multiples of 4. We subtracted 4, then 8, then 12, then 16. Logic dictates the next subtraction must be 20.
So 60 minus 20 leaves us with 40.
Spot on.
Question 11 throws a slight curveball. 2, 5, 10, 17, 26. What comes next? Options are 37, 35, 38, and 36.
And how would you approach this?
Well, if I do the deltas here, I get +3, +5, +7, +9. I guess the next delta is +11, which makes 37.
And your delta method works perfectly there. The differences are consecutive odd numbers. But there is a secondary, often faster way to see this, which goes back to memorizing your squares.
Oh, I see it.
Look at the numbers themselves, 2, 5, 10, 17. They are all hovering exactly 1 digit above perfect squares. 2 is 1 squared plus 1.
5 is 2 squared plus 1. 10 is 3 squared plus 1.
Exactly. 17 is 4 squared plus 1. The formula is n squared plus 1. The last number was 5 squared plus 1.
So the next is 6 squared plus 1. 36 plus 1 is 37.
Both paths lead to the exact same destination.
And question 12 finishes the series block. 7, 14, 28, 56. What is next? Options are 112, 108, 98, and 120.
This is a geometric progression, which just means we are multiplying by a constant factor.
Like doubling.
Exactly. Each term is exactly double the previous one. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 doubled is 28. 28 doubled is 56.
You just have to double 56. 50 times 2 is 100. 6 times 2 is 12, so 112.
Very good.
Moving smoothly into the next thematic grouping, questions 13 through 21, we hit coding, relations, and spatial navigation.
These can be tricky.
Yeah. Question 13. If A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and so on up to Z equals 26, what is the code for the word FACE obtained by adding the position values of its letters? Options are 15, 14, 16, and 13.
This relies entirely on your alphabetical index. A highly recommended strategy is to quickly jot down the alphabet and its corresponding numbers on your scratch paper the second your exam begins.
Oh, that prevents mental math errors.
Exactly. F is the 6th letter, so 6. A is 1, C is 3, E is 5. The prompt explicitly asks us to add them together.
6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 5 gives us a total code of 15.
Correct.
Question 14 introduces language coding. In a certain code language, the word SUN is written as TVO. How is the word MOON written in that exact same code? Options are NPPO, NPPN, NOPPN, and NPON.
First, you have to decipher the cipher. S becomes T, U becomes V, N becomes O.
Every single letter simply takes one step forward in the alphabet.
Yes, it is a +1 shift. Now apply that rigidly to MOON. M steps forward to N. The letter O steps forward to P.
The second O also becomes P. Finally, N steps forward to O. String it together, and you get NPPO.
Easy points.
Question 15 is a fun one. In a code language, CAT is written as TAC. How is DOG written in that code? Options are GOD, OGD, DGO, and GDO.
The test maker is giving you a mental break here. Don't overcomplicate it by looking for letter shifts.
It's just reversed, right?
Exactly. CAT simply reverses its spelling to become TAC. The rule is read it backwards. Therefore, DOG read backwards is GOD.
Now we enter the sometimes confusing realm of blood relations.
Oh, these are notorious.
Question 16. Pointing to a man, Rena said, "His mother is the only daughter of my mother." How is Rena related to the man? Options are mother, sister, aunt, or grandmother.
These questions are notorious for twisting your brain into knots. The absolute best way to solve them is to work backwards from the word my and substitute identities.
Okay, so Rena says my mother. So we are talking about Rena's mother.
Right. Then she says, the only daughter of my mother. If Rena's mother only has one daughter, and Rena is female, which the context the names implies, then the only daughter is Rena herself.
Now substitute Rena back into the first half of the sentence.
Exactly. The sentence, his mother is the only daughter of my mother, becomes simply, his mother is Rena, therefore Rena is the mother of the man.
That substitution hack is a lifesaver. Let's try it. Or a family tree on question 17. P is the father of Q. Q is the sister of RS, is the mother of R. How is P related to S? Options are husband, brother, son, or uncle.
Drawing a quick rough tree on your scratch paper is foolproof here. Put P at the top as a father. Draw a line down to his child, Q. We're told Q is the sister of R.
That means Q and R are siblings sitting on the same level.
Right. If P is the father of Q and Q and R are siblings, then P is also the father of R. Now the prompt tells us S is the mother of R.
If P is the father of these kids and S is their mother, logic dictates P and S are the parents. Therefore, P is the husband of S. Let's navigate some physical directions with question 18. Raju walks 10 meters towards east, then 10 meters towards south, then 10 meters towards west. How far and in which direction is he from his starting point? Options are 10 meters south, 10 meters north, 20 meters south, or 0 meters.
Let me guess the trap you're thinking of.
I know the trap he was just adding up all the numbers and guessing 30.
Exactly. The trap is treating it like total distance traveled rather than physical displacement. Never try to hold these in your head.
Draw a map.
Draw a tiny compass cross on your paper, north up, south down, east right, west left. Draw a starting dot. Move your pencil right for 10 meters east, then drop down for 10 meters south, then move left for 10 meters west.
Because he went 10 right and 10 left, the east and west movements perfectly cancel each other out.
Yes, he is horizontally back where he started, but he never undid that downward south movement, so he is sitting exactly 10 meters directly south of his original dot.
Question 19 is a pure mental rotation.
Yeah.
You are facing north. You turn 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Which direction are you now facing? Options are west, east, south, or north.
Picture the face of a clock. It is the most reliable visual. North is 12 o'clock, east is 3, south is 6, west is 9.
The prompt says anti-clockwise, meaning against the natural flow of the clock hands, turning to your left.
Right. A full 90-degree turn is 1/4 of the circle. Moving from 12 o'clock leftward by 1/4 puts you squarely at 9 o'clock, and 9 o'clock is west.
Now for some ranking logic. Question 20. In a row of 25 children, Amit is 9th from the left end. What is his position from the right end? Options are 17th, 16th, 18th, or 15th.
There is a classic formula for this, but you need to understand why it works so you don't forget it. The formula is position from right equals the total number minus the position from the left, PLSS1.
Why do we add one?
Because if you have 25 kids and you subtract the 9 kids on the left, including Amit, you have just mathematically erased Amit from the row. You only have 16 kids left on the right side of him.
Oh, so to find his spot, you have to count those 16 kids and then add Amit back in as the very next position.
Exactly. So 25 minus 9 is 16. Add 1 to step onto Amit's position, and he is 17th from the right.
Question 21 is about organizing by height. Among 5 friends, A is taller than B, but shorter than C. D is taller than C, and E is the shortest. Who is the tallest? Options are D, C, A, or B.
Treat this like building a physical stack. The first clue A is taller than B, so A is stacked above B, but A is shorter than C, so place C above A.
Our stack from top to bottom is currently C, A, B.
Next clue D is taller than C, so D goes right on top of C. Stack is now D, C, A, B.
Final clue E is the shortest. We just slide E underneath B at the very bottom.
The complete stack from tallest to shortest is D, C, A, B, E. The person sitting at the peak is D.
We are entering the final stretch of Section A. Questions 22 through 25 cover syllogisms and operations. Question 22 gives us 2 absolute statements. Some pens are pencils, all pencils are erasers. It then gives 2 conclusions. Roman numeral 1, some pens are erasers. Roman numeral 2, all erasers are pencils. The question asks which conclusions logically follow.
Syllogisms can feel like a riddle. The Venn diagram method is your best defense against traps. Draw a circle for pens. The first statement says, some pens are pencils, so draw a pencil circle that overlaps the pen circle.
Got it.
The second statement says, all pencils are erasers. That means you must draw a giant eraser circle that completely swallows the entire pencil circle. Now look at conclusion 1. Some pens are erasers.
Because the giant eraser circle had to swallow the pencil circle, it naturally captured that little overlapping section of pens. So yes, some pens are definitively erasers. Conclusion 1 follows perfectly.
Spot on.
But what about conclusion 2? All erasers are pencils.
This is a classic fallacy of reversing an absolute. The statement was, all pencils are erasers. Just because every pencil fits inside the eraser category doesn't mean the eraser category doesn't contain other things.
Makes sense.
My favorite analogy is, all dogs are mammals. You cannot reverse that and claim all mammals are dogs. What about cats? So conclusion 2 is false. Only conclusion 1 follows.
Question 23 is a real-world statement and conclusion puzzle. Statement, use this medicine only under medical supervision. Conclusions, 1, the medicine may be harmful if misused. 2, the medicine has no effect at all. Which follows?
Here you are decoding intent. Why would a pharmaceutical company print that warning? It implies an inherent risk. If you use it without supervision, something bad could happen.
Therefore, conclusion 1 that it may be harmful if misused is a perfectly logical deduction.
Yes. Conclusion 2 that it has no effect is completely contradictory. If it did nothing, it wouldn't be medicine, and it certainly wouldn't require a doctor's supervision. Only conclusion 1 follows.
Question 24 brings us back to Venn diagram math. In a group of 50 students, 30 play cricket, 25 play football, and 10 play both games. How many play neither game? Options are 5, 10, 15, or 0.
The ultimate trap here is just adding 30 and 25 to get 55, realizing you only have 50 students, and panicking.
Yeah, that math doesn't work.
The key is understanding overlap. Those 10 kids who play both are currently being counted twice, once in the 30 cricket players and again in the 25 football players.
So to find out the true number of kids playing sports, you add the groups and subtract the overlap. 30 plus 25 is 55. Subtract the 10 dual athletes so they are only counted once.
Right. That leaves us with 45 unique students who play at least one game. If there are 50 students total in the group and 45 are on a field, then 50 minus 45 leaves 5 students sitting on the sidelines playing neither.
And the final question of Section A, the logic engine, is question 25. It is a Bodie-MES symbol swap. If plus means minus, minus means multiply, multiply means divide, and divide means plus, then what is the value of the equation 8 minus 4 multiply 2 divide 4 plus 2? Options are 18, 16, 20, or 14.
This is an exercise in meticulous execution. Do not try to solve it while reading the original symbols. Rewrite the entire equation on your scratch paper using the new rules.
Okay, so the 8 minus 4 transforms into 8 multiplied by 4. The multiply 2 becomes divide 2. The divide 4 becomes plus 4, and the plus 2 becomes minus 2.
Correct. Your new true equation is 8 times 4 divided by 2 plus 4 minus 2. Now execute the Bodie-MES rule bracket, order, divide, multiply, add, subtract.
Do the multiplication and division first, reading left to right.
Yeah.
8 times 4 is 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16.
Now we have 16 plus 4 minus 2. Addition and subtraction next. 16 plus 4 is 20. 20 minus 2 is 18. You have arrived at the answer.
And just like that, we have conquered the logic engine. Having warmed up our logical faculties, we seamlessly sequence into Section B, General Awareness. This covers questions 26 through 50.
This is my favorite part.
Now, earlier we talked about the 60-minute time crunch and how unforgiving it is. In that context, this section is your absolute best friend. This is your time saver.
It is the anchor of your entire pacing strategy. The mindset here changes entirely from Section A. There is absolutely no underlying logic to deduce, no equations to balance. You either know the fact or you do not. These questions span an incredibly vast breadth. History, polity, geography, economy, science, and static general knowledge. They are fundamental facts. The strategy is rapid recall. If you don't know it, do not sit there for a minute agonizing over it. Bank the precious seconds you save here to use on the difficult math section coming up next.
Let's power through and build some context. Questions 26 to 29 cover history. Question 26, who was the first Governor General of independent India? Options, Lord Mountbatten, C. Rajagopalachari, Lord Canning, or Warren Hastings.
The correct answer is Lord Mountbatten. The test maker has included a very specific trap here, which is C. Rajagopalachari.
Why is that a trap?
Mountbatten oversaw the transition and served as the first Governor General immediately upon independence in 1947. C. Rajagopalachari eventually succeeded him and holds the distinction of being the first Indian Governor General of independent India. But the question just asked for the first overall, which remains Mountbatten. You must read the adjectives in the prompt carefully.
Excellent distinction. Question 27. The First War of Indian Independence, the Great Revolt against the British, took place in which year? Options are 1857, 1885, 1919, or 1942.
The answer is 1857. This is the monumental Sepoy Mutiny that began in Meerut and reshaped the entire colonial landscape, shifting power from the East India Company directly to the British Crown.
Note the trap years, too. 1885 is the founding of the Indian National Congress, 1919 is Jallianwala Bagh, and 1942 is the Quit India movement. The examiners use other famous dates as distractors.
Always.
Question 28. Who was the last Mughal emperor of India? Options: Bahadur Shah Zafar, Aurangzeb Akbar II, or Shah Alam II.
This ties directly into the previous question. The last Mughal emperor was Bahadur Shah Zafar, also known as Bahadur Shah II. During that 1857 revolt, the rebels declared him the Emperor of India. Following the suppression of the revolt, the British exiled him to Rangoon, officially ending the Mughal dynasty.
Question 29. In which year did the tragic Jallianwala Bagh massacre take place? Options: 1919, 1920, 1857, or 1942.
We just discussed the distractor dates. This horrific event occurred on April 13, 1919, in Amritsar, when General Dyer ordered his troops to open fire on a peaceful gathering. It was a major catalyst that shifted the independence movement into a mass struggle. The answer is 1919.
Moving forward into polity, questions 30 to 33. Question 30. Who is the constitutional head of the Union Executive of India? Options: President of India, Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, or Vice President.
The trap here is confusing functional power with constitutional status. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers hold the real functional executive power.
But the Constitution says something different.
Yes. The Constitution explicitly vests the executive power of the Union in the President of India, making the President the formal, constitutional, or nominal head. The correct answer is the President.
Question 31. Which words were added to the preamble of the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment in 1976? Options: socialist and secular, sovereign and democratic, republic and justice, or liberty and equality.
The original preamble declared India a sovereign democratic republic. The 42nd Amendment, often called the mini-constitution due to its sweeping changes, added 3 specific words: socialist, secular, and integrity. Looking at our options, the pair socialist and secular is the correct choice.
Question 32. How many members can the President of India nominate to the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of parliament? Options are 12, 2, 10, or 14.
The correct number is 12, and it helps to know why. The framers of the Constitution wanted a mechanism to bring brilliant minds into the legislative process without making them fight an election. The president nominates 12 individuals who have special knowledge or practical experience in fields like literature, science, art, and social service.
Question 33. Which schedule of the Indian Constitution contains the Union, State, and concurrent lists? Options: 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th schedule.
This is about the division of legislative power between the central government and the states. That entire architectural framework detailing exactly who is allowed to make laws about what is housed in the 7th schedule.
As a quick memory aid, the 8th deals with recognized languages, and the 10th is the anti-defection law. The answer here is the 7th schedule.
Exactly.
Shifting to geography and economy, questions 34 to 40. Question 34. Which is the largest Indian state by physical area? Options: Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, or Uttar Pradesh.
If the question asked for population, the answer would be Uttar Pradesh. But by sheer landmass, covering roughly 3.42 lakh square kilometers, mostly dominated by the Thar Desert, the largest state is Rajasthan.
Question 35. Which line forms the international boundary between India and Pakistan? Options: Radcliffe Line, McMahon Line, Durand Line, or Maginot Line.
These historical lines are prime targets for examiners. The boundary drawn up during the partition in 1947 by the British architect Sir Cyril Radcliffe is the Radcliffe Line. It separates India and Pakistan.
The McMahon Line is the boundary with China, right?
Yes, and the Durand Line separates Pakistan and Afghanistan. The Maginot Line is a World War II French defense, totally unrelated. The answer is Radcliffe.
Question 36. Which is the southernmost point of mainland India? Options: Kanyakumari, Indira Point, Kibithu, or Kandla.
You must read the prompt like a lawyer. The crucial word is mainland.
Oh.
If you include India's island territories, the southernmost point is Indira Point down in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. But the prompt specifies the mainland contiguous continent. That southernmost tip is Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu.
Question 37. The Sundarbans Delta is formed mainly by which river system? Options: Ganga and Brahmaputra, Krishna and Godavari, Narmada and Tapi, or Indus and Sutlej.
The Sundarbans is a massive mangrove forest and the largest river delta in the world. It is created by the confluence of 3 mighty rivers emptying into the Bay of Bengal, the Ganga, the Brahmaputra, and the Meghna. Our option pairs the two largest contributors, Ganga and Brahmaputra.
Question 38 enters the economy. In India, which body has the sole authority to issue currency notes except the 1 rupee note? Options: Reserve Bank of India, Ministry of Finance, State Bank of India, or Security Press.
The central banking institution, the Reserve Bank of India, or RBI, controls monetary policy and issues almost all paper currency. But why that weird exception for the 1 rupee note?
Yeah, why is that?
The 1 rupee note and all coins are considered the direct liability of the government of India, specifically issued by the Ministry of Finance, and bears the signature of the finance secretary, not the RBI governor. But for the rest of the notes, which the question asks about, the sole authority is the Reserve Bank of India.
That is a fascinating bit of trivia that explains the trap. Question 39. What does the economic term repo rate mean? Options: rate at which the RBI lends to commercial banks, rate banks pay to depositors, a tax on imports, or the annual rate of inflation.
Repo is short for repurchase agreement. In simple terms, when commercial banks run out of funds and need a short-term loan, they go to the central bank, the RBI.
The interest rate the RBI charges them for this loan is the repo rate.
Right. It is the primary lever the central bank uses to control liquidity and inflation. The definition perfectly matches the first option, the rate at which the RBI lends to commercial banks.
Question 40. In India, the official financial year runs from which dates? Options: 1, April to 31 March, 1st January to 31 December, 1st July to 30 June, or 1 October to 30 September.
Unlike the standard calendar year, the accounting and tax cycle for the Indian government and businesses begins on the 1st of April and concludes on the 31st of March of the following year.
For the final block of Section B, questions 41 through 50, we hit general science and static general knowledge. Let's maintain a brisk pace. Question 41. What is the standard SI unit of electric current? Options: ampere, volt, ohm, or watt.
The measure of the flow of electric charge is the ampere, often just called an amp. To avoid traps, remember that volt measures the potential difference or pressure, ohm measures the resistance to the flow, and watt measures total power, but current is strictly the ampere.
Question 42. Which scientific instrument is used to measure atmospheric pressure? Options: barometer, thermometer, hygrometer, or ammeter.
You feel atmospheric pressure when your ears pop on a plane. The tool to measure it is a barometer. A thermometer does temperature, a hygrometer tracks humidity, and as we just learned, an ammeter measures electrical current.
Question 43. Which is the most abundant gas in the Earth's atmosphere? Options: nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, or argon. I always assume it's oxygen because we need it to breathe.
That is a very common misconception. Oxygen is vital, but it only makes up about 21% of the air. The vast majority of the Earth's atmosphere, roughly 78%, is actually nitrogen gas.
Question 44. What is the chemical formula of common table salt? Options: NaCl, KClO, KCO3, or NaHCO3.
The salt you put on your food is sodium chloride. In chemical notation, sodium is Na and chlorine is Cl. Combined, they make NaCl.
Question 45. Which vitamin is naturally produced in the human body upon exposure to sunlight? Options: vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin C, or vitamin K.
When ultraviolet B rays from the sun strike your bare skin, it triggers a chemical reaction that synthesizes vitamin D. It is a unique vitamin because it acts almost like a hormone, and it is crucial for helping your body absorb calcium for strong bones. The answer is vitamin D.
Question 46. Deficiency of which nutrient mainly causes the condition known as anemia? Options: iron, calcium, iodine, or vitamin C.
Anemia occurs when your blood lacks enough healthy red blood cells to carry adequate oxygen to your body's tissues. The core building block of the hemoglobin inside those red cells is iron.
So without enough iron, your body simply can't manufacture the cells. Therefore, an iron deficiency is the primary culprit behind anemia.
Exactly.
Question 47. How many bones are there in the adult human body? Options: 206, 201, 212, or 198.
A fully formed adult human skeleton consists of 206 bones. It is an interesting bit of biology that human babies are born with around 270 bones, but many of those, like parts of the skull, fuse together as they grow, bringing the final tally down to 206.
Question 48. Where is the headquarters of the World Health Organization, or WHO, located? Options: Geneva, Paris, New York, or Rome.
International organizations love Switzerland for its historic neutrality. The World Health Organization is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland.
Question 49. Which bird holds the title of the national bird of India? Options: Indian peacock, house sparrow, eagle, or parrot.
The Indian peacock, specifically the male peafowl with its magnificent plumage, was officially declared the national bird of India in 1963 due to its deep integration into the art, culture, and mythology of the region.
And question 50, to close out the general awareness section. The Rann of Kutch is located in which Indian state? Options: Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, or Punjab.
The Great Rann of Kutch is a massive expanse of salt marshes situated in the Thar Desert. It is famously located in the westernmost state of Gujarat.
And that completes section B.
Yes. If you executed that with the rapid recall we discussed, you haven't just answered 25 questions. You have essentially bought yourself a wealth of extra time for what comes next.
Which brings us perfectly to the belly of the beast. Section C, quantitative aptitude. Questions 51 through 75. We transition here from quick recall to cold, hard calculation.
Right.
Remember that 36-second per question average we talked about at the beginning? Yeah. This section is where that average gets severely tested.
It is the crucible of the exam. I want to introduce an analogy to help manage the stress. Think of yourself as a head chef in a very busy, high-end kitchen during the dinner rush.
Okay, I like this.
The questions on the screen are the food orders coming in. You already know the recipes. Those are your mathematical formulas, like calculating the area of a circle as pi squared, or applying the logic of simple interest.
So success here is not about inventing a new mathematical recipe on the spot.
Exactly. It is just about executing the standard recipe perfectly, methodically, and without panicking under intense time pressure.
Let's step into the kitchen and start cooking. Questions 51 to 55 cover percentages, ratios, and averages. Question 51, what is 40% of 250? Options are 100, 90, 110, or 120.
Let's execute the percentage recipe. Percent literally means per 100. So 40% is 40 over 100, which simplifies to the decimal 0.4. The word of in math almost always means multiply.
So multiply 0.4 by 250.
Right. To do it fast in your head, ignore the decimal first. 4 times 25 is 100, so 4 times 250 is 1,000. Move the decimal back one spot and you get 100. The answer is exactly 100.
Question 52. 15 is what percent of 60? Options 25%, 20%, 30%, or 15%.
Here, you are building the fraction yourself. The part is 15, the whole is 60. Set up the fraction 15 over 60.
If you know your multiples of 15, you know that 15 goes into 60 exactly 4 times.
Yes, so the fraction simplifies to 1 over 4. A quarter of anything is 25%. If you didn't know that, just multiply 15 over 60 by 100, which gives you 900 over 36, eventually reducing to 25. The answer is 25%.
Question 53 deals with combining ratios, and this can be tricky. If A is to B equals 2 to 3 and B is to C equals 4 to 5, find the combined ratio of A is to C. Options are 8 to 15, 2 to 5, 8 to 12, or 3 to 5.
The trap is trying to smash them together directly. You can't because the shared variable B has 2 different values. In the first ratio, B is represented by a 3. In the second, B is a 4.
It's like trying to connect pipes of different sizes.
Exactly. You need an adapter. You must find a common ground for B. The lowest common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12. Let's adjust both ratios so that B equals 12. Take the first ratio, 2 to 3, and multiply both sides by 4. That scales it up to 8 to 12.
Take the second ratio, 4 to 5, and multiply both sides by 3. That scales it up to 12 to 15.
Now, B is a perfect 12 in both scenarios. We can link the chain. A is 8, B is 12, C is 15. The prompt only asks for A compared to C. That leaves us with 8 to 15.
That pipe adapter visual is incredibly helpful. Question 54. The average of 4 consecutive even numbers is 9. Find the smallest of them. Options are 6, 4, 8, or 2.
You could build a long algebraic equation for this, defining them as x, x plus 2, and so on, but there is a much faster logical hack.
Oh, I like hacks.
Think of it conceptually. If you have 4 consecutive even numbers, they are perfectly and evenly spaced out on a number line. The true average of any perfectly spaced set always sits in the exact dead center.
If the average is 9, the 2 numbers in the very middle of the set have to be the even numbers flanking 9.
Right. What even numbers flank 9? 8 and 10. So your 2 middle numbers are 8 and 10. Since you need 4 consecutive even numbers, you just step out 1 more in each direction. Below 8 is 6. Above 10 is 12. Your full set is 6, 8, 10, 12. The smallest is 6. No algebra required.
Wow, that saves a massive amount of time. Question 55. The average weight of 3 boys is 50 kilograms. If a 4th boy weighing 58 kilograms joins the group, what is the new average? Options 52 kilograms, 54 kilograms, 51 kilograms, or 53 kilograms.
The recipe for ARIC problems involving new additions is always to find the total sum first. Averages are tricky to manipulate, but totals are solid.
Okay, if 3 boys have an average weight of 50 kilograms, their combined total weight on a giant scale is 3 multiplied by 50, which is 150 kilograms.
Now, the 4th boy steps onto the scale. He brings 58 kilograms with him. 150 kilograms plus his 58 kilograms gives a brand new total weight of 208 kilograms.
To find the new average, we take this new total and divide it by the new head count. We now have 4 boys. 208 divided by 4.
Well, 200 divided by 4 is 50, and 8 divided by 4 is 2, so the new average is 52 kilograms.
Excellent. Now we move into commercial math with questions 56 through 60. Question 56, a man buys a pen for Rs40 and sells it for Rs50. Find the profit percentage. Options 25%, 20%, 15%, or 10%.
First, calculate the raw profit. He sold it for 50, he bought it for 40. 50 minus 40 means he made a raw profit of 10 rupees.
Now, the cardinal rule of profit percentage is that it is always calculated against the original cost price, not the selling price.
Yes. The cost was 40, so his profit is 10 over his cost of 40. The fraction 10 over 40 reduces to 1/4, and as we established earlier, 1/4 is 25%. His profit is 25%.
Question 57 works backwards. An article is sold for Rs720 at a profit of 20%. Find its original cost price. Options are Rs600, Rs620, Rs576, or Rs650.
The trap here is calculating 20% of 720 and subtracting it. That is mathematically wrong because, again, profit is based on the cost price, which we don't know yet.
If the profit is 20%, it means the final selling price represents the full 100% of the cost, plus an extra 20%.
Exactly. So the selling price is exactly 120% of the cost price. We can turn that into a simple equation, 1.20 multiplied by the unknown cost price equals 720. To find the cost price, we divide 720 by 1.2.
If you don't like decimals, multiply both by 10 to get 7,200 divided by 12. 72 divided by 12 is 6. Add the zeros and you get 600. The original cost price was 600 rupees.
Nice and clean.
Question 58 involves a real-world shopping scenario, successive discounts. A jacket marked at Rs2000 is sold after 2 successive discounts of 10% and 20%. Find the final selling price. Options are Rs1,440, Rs1,400, Rs1,500, or Rs1,380. I know the trap here. The brain immediately wants to add 10 and 20 to make a single 30% discount.
Exactly. That is the trap the department stores rely on and the examiner's test. Successive discounts do not add together. They must be applied sequentially, one after the other, on the diminishing balance.
Let's do the first discount, 10% off 2,000. 10% of 2,000 is 200. So we subtract 200, bringing the price down to 1,800.
Now, the second discount of 20% is applied to that new price of 1,800, not the original 2,000. 20% of 1,800. Well, 10% is 180, so 20% is double that, which is 360.
Subtract 360 from 1,800, and you arrive at a final selling price of 4,440 rupees. If you had fallen for the 30% trap, you would have calculated 1,400, which is sitting right there as a wrong option.
Classic trap.
Question 59 brings in simple interest. In how many years will Rs5,000 amount to Rs6,000 at 5% per annum, simple interest? Options: 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, or 6 years.
First, find out how much actual interest needs to be generated. The goal amount is 6,000 and the starting principal is 5,000. That means we need to generate exactly 1,000 rupees in interest.
With simple interest, the interest earned every year is identical because it is only calculated on the starting principal.
Right. So what is 5% of 5,000? 10% is 500, so 5% is half that, which is 250 rupees. The account earns 250 rupees every single year. We need to reach 1,000 rupees. How many times does 250 go into 1,000? 4 times. It will take exactly 4 years.
Question 60 switches the mechanism to compound interest. Find the amount on Rs2000 at 10% per annum for 2 years, compounded annually. Options are Rs1,420, Rs2,400, Rs2,200, or Rs2,440.
Compound interest means you earn interest on your interest. The standard formula is principal multiplied by 1 plus the rate over 100 raised to the power of the years. Let's run it.
The rate is 10%, so our multiplier is 1.2. Because it is, for 2 years, we square that multiplier. 1.dado times 1.day is 1.21.
Now multiply that final factor by the original principal of 2,000. 2,000 multiplied by 1.21. Ignore the decimal to make it 2 times a 121, which is 242. Add a 0 for the scale and you get 2,420. The final accumulated amount is 2,420 rupees.
Stepping into questions 61 to 65, we tackle time, speed, and mixtures. Question 61A is twice as efficient as B. If B alone finishes a work in 18 days, in how many days will A alone finish it? Options 9 days, 12 days, 6 days, or 36 days.
This is a test of understanding inverse proportionality. Efficiency and time move in opposite directions. If A is twice as efficient as B, it means A works twice as fast.
If you work twice as fast, you're going to take half as much time to finish the exact same job.
The prompt states B takes 18 days. A works twice as fast, so A takes half the time. Half of 18 is 9. A will finish the job in 9 days. Don't let the word twice trick you into multiplying 18 by 2.
Question 62 is a bit more complex regarding work. A and B together complete a work in 12 days, and A alone completes it in 20 days. And how many days will B alone complete it? Options 30 days, 24 days, 15 days, or 18 days.
You cannot just subtract days. You must convert days into daily work rates, fractions. If A and B together finish the job in 12 days, then in one single day, they complete 1/12 of the job.
If A alone finishes in 20 days, then in one single day, A completes 1/20th of the job.
Right. To find B's daily work rate, we subtract A's rate from their combined team rate. 1/12 minus 1/20th. We need a common denominator, which is 60. 1/12 scales up to 5/60ths. 1/20th scales up to 3/60ths.
Now subtract 5/60ths minus 3/60th leaves 2/60ths. Simplify that fraction and you get 1/30th.
So B completes 1/30th of the work per day. Therefore, it will take B 30 days to finish the whole thing alone.
Question 63. A man covers 60 kilometers in 1.5 hours. What is his speed? Options 40 kilometers, 45 kilometers, or 50 kilometers, or 30 kilometers.
The foundational formula of physics is speed equals distance divided by time. The distance is 60 kilometers. The time is 1.5 hours. 60 divided by 1.5.
If the decimal is annoying, double both numbers to keep the ratio the same. 60 doubled is 120. 1.5 doubled is 3.
Exactly. Now the math is just 120 divided by 3, which is a very simple 40. His speed is 40 kilometers per hour.
Question 64. Two trains, 200 kilometers apart, move towards each other at 40 kilometers and 60 kilometers. After how long do they meet? Options 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 1.5 hours, or 3 hours.
This tests the concept of relative speed. Because the trains are driving directly toward one another, they are aggressively eating up the space between them from both sides. To find out how fast that gap is shrinking, you combine their speeds.
40 plus 60 is 100 kilometers per hour. They're closing the 200-kilometer gap at a combined rate of 100 kilometers per hour.
Time equals distance divided by speed. 200 divided by 100 is 2. They will crash into each other in exactly 2 hours.
Question 65. A 60-liter mixture has milk and water in the ratio 7:3. How much water must be added to make the new ratio 1:1? Options 24 liters, 18 liters, 30 liters, or 12 liters.
Let's unpack the initial bucket first. The 60-liter mixture is divided into a ratio of 7 parts milk to 3 parts water. That means there are 10 total parts in the bucket. Divide the 60 liters by those 10 parts, and you find that each single part is exactly 6 liters.
So how much milk is there? 7 parts times 6 liters is 42 liters of milk. How much water? 3 parts times 6 liters is 18 liters of water.
The prompt asks us to add water until the ratio is 1:1. A 1:1 ratio simply means the amounts are perfectly equal. The milk is sitting at 42 liters and we are not touching it.
Therefore, the water must also be brought up to 42 liters to match. We currently have 18 liters of water. To get from 18 to 42, we must add 24 liters.
Brilliant logic.
Now for the final stretch of Section C, questions 66 through 75, we dive into geometry, trigonometry, and number systems. Question 66. The area of a square is 144 square centimeters. Find its perimeter. Options 48 centimeters, 36 centimeters, 60 centimeters, or 24 centimeters.
The recipe for the area of a square is simply the side length multiplied by itself. So what number times itself equals 144? It is 12. This means every side of the square is exactly 12 centimeters long.
The perimeter is just the total distance walking around the outside boundary. A square has 4 equal sides. 4 multiplied by 12 is 48. The perimeter is 48 centimeters.
Correct.
Question 67. Find the circumference of a circle with a radius of 14 centimeters. Take pi as 227. Options 88 centimeters, 44 centimeters, 154 centimeters, or 176 centimeters.
The recipe for the circumference, which is just the perimeter of a circle, is 2 times pi times the radius. Let's plug in the numbers. 2 times 22 over 7 times 14.
Do the division first to make life easy. The 14 in the numerator divided by the 7 in the denominator leaves a clean 2.
Now your equation is just 2 times 22 times 2. 2 times 22 is 44. 44 times 2 is 88. The circumference is 88 centimeters.
Question 68. Find the volume of a cuboid with length 4 centimeters, breadth 3 centimeters, and height 2 centimeters. Options 24 centimeters, 12 centimeters, or 20 centimeters.
A cuboid is just a rectangular box. The volume, the amount of 3D space inside it, is calculated by multiplying its three dimensions together. Length times breadth times height.
4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. The volume is 24 cubic centimeters.
Nice and easy.
Question 69. In a right-angled triangle, the two legs measure 3 centimeters and 4 centimeters. Find the length of the hypotenuse. Options 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 7 centimeters, or 4.5 centimeters.
This is an absolute classic. It requires the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the longest side, the hypotenuse. Let's square the legs. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16.
Add them together. 9 plus 16 is 25. So c squared equals 25. The square root of 25 is 5. The hypotenuse is 5 centimeters.
Exactly. This particular ratio, 3, 4, 5, is the most famous Pythagorean triple in mathematics. If you memorize it, you don't even have to do the math.
Question 70. What is the measure of each exterior angle of a regular pentagon? Options 72 degrees, 108 degrees, 60 degrees, or 90 degrees.
There is a beautiful universal rule in geometry you can exploit here. For absolutely any regular polygon, no matter how many sides it has, the sum of all its exterior angles is always exactly 360 degrees.
A pentagon has 5 sides, and therefore 5 identical exterior angles. To find the measure of just one, you simply divide the total 360 degrees by 5. 360 divided by 5 is 72. Each exterior angle is exactly 72 degrees.
Great job.
Let's do some trigonometry. Question 71. What is the value of cosine 60 degrees? Options 12, root 3 over 2, 1, or 0.
There is no trick to this one. Trigonometry relies heavily on memorizing the standard ratio table for common angles, like 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90.
The cosine of 60 degrees is fundamentally equal to 12. You must have that table locked in your memory before exam day.
Exactly.
Question 72 tests that exact table again. What is the value of tan, 45 degrees, plus sin, 90 degrees? Options 2, 1, 0, or 1.5.
Let's pull the values from that memorized table. The tangent of a 45-degree angle is exactly 1. The sine of a 90-degree angle is also exactly 1.
The equation simply asks us to add them together. 1 plus 1 equals 2. It looks complicated because the sine and tan, but it is really just basic addition once you know the values.
Right.
Almost there with the math. Question 73. If 3x minus 7 equals 11, find the value of x. Options 6, 4, 9, or 5.
Standard linear algebra. The goal is to isolate x on one side of the equal sign. First, get rid of the minus 7 by doing the opposite. Adding 7 to both sides, 11 plus 7 is 18.
Now the equation reads 3x equals 18. This means 3 multiplied by some number is 18. To isolate x, divide both sides by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. The value of x is 6.
Perfect.
Question 74. What is the smallest prime number? Options 2, 1, 3, or 0. Now, I will admit my instinct here is to pick 1. It is the smallest positive number.
You are not alone. 1 is the most common wrong answer, but it violates the strict mathematical definition of a prime. A prime number must be a natural number strictly greater than 1, and it must have exactly 2 distinct divisors, 1 and itself.
The number 1 only has one divisor itself. Therefore, it is disqualified. The number 2 is greater than 1, and it is only divisible by 1 and 2. Therefore, 2 is the smallest prime number.
It also holds the unique distinction of being the only even prime number in existence.
And the final math question, 75. What is the sum of the first 5 multiples of 3? Options 45, 30, 60, or 50.
First, we have to generate the list of numbers. Multiples of 3 are just counting by 3s. The first 5 are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. The prompt asks for their total sum.
You can add them linearly, but a faster trick is pairing them up. 3 plus 15 is 18. 6 plus 12 is 18. So you have 2 18s, which is 36, plus the 9 left in the middle. 36 plus 9 is 45. The sum is 45.
And breathe, we have made it out of the kitchen.
We have survived the quantitative aptitude section. For our final stretch, section D, the exam shifts away from numbers and back to language. This is English comprehension, covering questions 76 through 100.
It is the perfect cool down after the heavy lifting of the math section. However, do not get complacent. English comprehension has its own unique demands.
Right. It requires a blend of pure rote vocabulary knowledge, like knowing exactly what a specific idiom means, and contextual intuition, where you have to use the surrounding sentence to figure out the grammar and tone.
Let's jump into the vocabulary and idioms block, questions 76 through 83. Question 76 asks for the most appropriate synonym for the word brave. Options: courageous, timid, weak, or fearful.
A synonym is a word with the exact same or highly similar meaning. The word brave describes someone showing courage or readiness to face danger.
Looking at the options, timid, weak, and fearful are all the exact opposite. They are antonyms. The only word that shares the meaning is courageous.
Question 77. Find the synonym for tranquil. Options: peaceful, noisy, angry, or busy.
If a lake or a forest is described as tranquil, it means it is in a state of calm, quiet, and serenity, free from disturbance. The word that best captures that serene essence among the choices is peaceful. The others describe agitation or chaos.
Now we flip to antonyms. Question 78 asks for the antonym of victory. Options: defeat, triumph, success, or win.
An antonym is a word opposite in meaning. Victory is the act of overcoming an enemy or an antagonist. Triumph, success, and win are all just different ways of saying victory. They are synonyms. The opposite action, the state of losing, is defeat.
Question 79. Antonym for expand. Options: contract, enlarge, grow, or stretch.
To expand is to become larger, to swell, or to take up more physical space. Enlarge, grow, and stretch all share that outward moving meaning. The opposite physical action, to shrink or become smaller, is to contract.
Let's decode some cultural idioms. Question 80 asks for the meaning of a piece of cake. Options: very easy, very tasty, very costly, or very difficult.
Idioms rarely mean what their literal words say. If a task or a test is described as a piece of cake, it has nothing to do with food. It is a metaphorical phrase meaning the task requires very little effort. It is something that is very easy to accomplish.
Question 81. Meaning of to let the cat out of the bag. Options: to reveal a secret, to buy a pet, to make noise, or to run away.
Historically, this idiom supposedly relates to livestock markets where pigs were sold in bags, and a dishonest seller might swap the pig for a cheaper cat. If the buyer opens the bag, the trick is exposed. Today, the phrase strictly means to carelessly or accidentally disclose information that was meant to be kept hidden. It means to reveal a secret.
Now, quick spelling check. Question 82. Select the correctly spelt word. The word is accommodation. The options give 4 different variations, mixing up single and double C's and M's.
The word accommodation is one of the most famous spelling traps in the English language. People constantly drop a letter. The mnemonic rule you must commit to memory is that a large accommodation requires double everything. It requires both a double C and a double M. accommodation.
Question 83 asks you to identify the misspelt word among a list of 4: embarrass, maintenance, privilege, and conscience.
The test maker leads with the error. The very first option, embarrass, is incorrect. Much like accommodation, it is a word that requires double consonants to function correctly. The true spelling is embarrass, double R, double S. The other 3 tricky words, maintenance, privilege, and conscience, are actually spelt correctly here.
Moving to grammar and sentence structure, questions 84 to 92. Let's start with fillers. Question 84. The cat jumped blank the table. Options: onto, into, among, or between.
This is a test of prepositions. We are describing physical movement from the floor to a resting position on top of a flat surface. The preposition onto perfectly captures this upward and positional movement. Into implies entering inside a volume or container which doesn't fit a flat table. Among and between require multiple objects. Jumped onto the table is the only correct choice.
Question 85. Work hard, blank, you will fail. Options: or, and, but, or, so.
The sentence sets up a start condition and a negative consequence. If condition A is not met, consequence B occurs. The conjunction or here does not mean a choice like coffee or tea. It functions as a warning, meaning otherwise. Work hard, otherwise you will fail.
Question 86. She is blank, honest woman. Options: N, a, the, or no article.
This is a tricky phonetic test regarding indefinite articles. The strict grammatical rule is that A goes before consonants and N goes before vowels. However, the rule is based on the sound of the word, not the actual written letter. While honest starts with the consonant letter H, that H is completely silent. When you speak it, the word begins with a vowel sound, an O sound, honest. Because it starts with a vowel sound, it demands the article an honest woman.
Question 87 asks us to select the grammatically correct sentence from these 4 options. 1. They have been living here since 2010. 2. They're living here since 2010. 3. They're living here since 2010. 4. They have been living here since 2010.
Look at the timeline. We have an action that started deep in the past, explicitly indicated by the phrase since 2010, and it is still continuing right now in the present. This specific timeline requires the present perfect continuous tense. Option 2 uses the simple present continuous are living, which ignores the past start date. Option 4 uses has, but the subject they is plural, so it must take have. Option 1, they have been living here since 2010, executes the tense and subject-verb agreement flawlessly.
Question 88. Select the correct sentence. 1. Each of the boys was present. 2. Each of the boys are present. 3. Each of the boys are present. 4.
This is known as the proximity trap. The test maker deliberately puts the plural noun boys right next to the verb to trick your ear into wanting a plural verb like were or are. But you have to identify the true subject of the sentence. The subject is not the boys, the subject is the word each. Each refers to every single individual boy considered one by one. Therefore, each is strictly grammatically singular. Because the subject is singular, it must take a singular verb. Was is the singular past tense verb. Each of the boys was present.
Let's shift voices in question 89. Change the following sentence into the passive voice. They are building a house. The options offer variations like a house is being built by them, a house was built, a house is built, and a house has been built.
In an active sentence, the subject does the action. They are building. In a passive sentence, the object receives the action. So a house moves to the front to become the new subject. Now, we must perfectly preserve the tense. The original are building is present continuous. It's happening right now. Options like was built or is built drop the continuous nature. To keep the continuous feeling in the passive voice, we must introduce the word being. So are building transforms into is being built. The correct passive sentence is a house is being built by them.
Question 90 goes the other way, changing a sentence back to the active voice. The letter has been written by John.
Identify the verb phrase has been written. This is the present perfect tense in the passive voice. The action was done by John. To make it active, John must reclaim his spot at the front of the sentence as the doer. We must keep the present perfect tense but make it active. Has been written drops the passive din and simply becomes has written. John has written the letter.
Questions 91 and 92 deal with reported or indirect speech. Question 91, she said, I am reading a book.
Converting direct dialogue to indirect speech requires a time shift. If the reporting verb, in this case, said, is in the past tense, then the tense inside the quotation marks usually has to take one step backwards in time. The quote, I am reading, is present continuous. It must shift back to the past continuous, was reading. Furthermore, the pronoun I must change to reflect the actual speaker, which is she. Combining those shifts gives us, she said that she was reading a book.
Question 92, he said to me, where do you live?
This is trickier because the direct speech is a question. When converting a question into indirect speech, it flattens out into a statement. We drop the question mark, and we completely remove the auxiliary helper verb do. The reporting phrase said to me is transformed into the action asked me. Then we apply the tense shift. The present tense verb live steps back to the past tense lived, and the pronoun you becomes I, since he was talking to me. The resulting transformation is he asked me where I lived.
Excellent breakdown. For the final 8 questions, we look at substitution, jumbles, and reading comprehension. Question 93 asks for the correct one-word substitution for the phrase, a place where birds are kept. Options, aviary, apiary, aquarium, or sanctuary.
Vocabulary is key here. An enclosure specifically designed for keeping birds is called an aviary, deriving from avis, the Latin word for bird. To avoid the traps, an apiary is specifically for keeping bees, an aquarium is obviously for fish and aquatic life, and a sanctuary is a general safe haven for any wildlife. Aviary is the precise term.
Question 94. Give the one-word substitution for a person who cannot read or write. Options, illiterate, literate, scholar, or author.
A person possessing the ability to read and write is considered literate. Adding the prefix ill creates the negation. Therefore, a person unable to read or write is described as illiterate.
Question 95 asks us to improve the underlined part of this sentence. He returned back home late at night. The options suggest replacing the underlined phrase with returned, return back again, or no improvement.
This tests your ability to spot a tautology, or redundancy. Let's look at the prefix or in the word returned. That prefix inherently means to come back or to go back. Therefore, the word returned already contains the concept of back inside it. Saying returned back is saying the exact same thing twice. It is grammatically clunky. The most concise and correct improvement is to strip away the redundant word and simply use returned.
Question 96 is a parajumble. You are asked to arrange 4 sentences in the correct order to form a meaningful chronological paragraph. Here are the pieces. P, she packed her bags. Q, she reached the airport. R, she decided to travel. S, she boarded the flight.
Treat this like directing a short film. What has to happen first? You cannot pack your bags before you even know you are going somewhere. The initiating incident, the mental spark, must come first. So, R, she decided to travel, is step 1. Following that decision, the physical preparation occurs. P, she packed her bags. Once packed, she must commute to the terminal Q, she reached the airport, and the final culminating action of the narrative is S, she boarded the flight. The logical sequence is R, then P, then Q, then S.
And now, the final mountain to climb. Questions 97 through 100 are based on a short reading passage. For the listeners, I will read the entire text aloud now. Quote, regular exercise strengthens the heart and lowers disease risk. Busy schedules stop many people, so small daily habits are the key to staying active. End quote. That's the entire passage.
It is incredibly brief, but it is dense with specific data points. The questions that follow will not ask for deep philosophical interpretation. They will be straightforward data extraction tasks based strictly on the words you just heard. Do not use outside knowledge here, only use the text.
Question 97. According to the passage, regular exercise strengthens the blank. Options are heart, hair, teeth, or eyes.
We scan the text for the keywords regular exercise strengthens. We find it immediately in the first sentence. Regular exercise strengthens the heart. We extract the word heart. That is our answer.
Question 98. What reason does the passage give for people avoiding exercise? Options: busy schedules, bad weather, high cost, or lack of space. I know bad weather stops me, but I can't let my own bias step in here, right?
Exactly. If you let your personal experience dictate the answer, you might pick bad weather. But you must obey the text. The second sentence states explicitly, busy schedules stop many people. So the only reason we are permitted to extract is busy schedules.
Question 99. According to the passage, exercise lowers the risk of blank. Options: disease, taxes, accidents, or deaths.
Scanning back to the first sentence, the second half explicitly notes that exercise lowers disease risk. We extract the word disease.
And we have arrived at the final question of the exam, question 100. What does the passage say is the key to staying active? Options: building small daily habits, joining a gym, hiring a trainer, or buying equipment.
Again, we ignore the very logical distractors like joining a gym or hiring a turner. The concluding thought of the passage gives us the exact phrasing. Small daily habits are the key to staying active. We extract building small daily habits.
And there we have it. 100 questions, completely deconstructed, analyzed, and solved. From logical analogies to historical dates to geometric perimeters, and finally to reading comprehension.
Let's summarize the core strategic takeaway from this entire exercise. Managing a 100-question, 60-minute test is ultimately a test of sheer intellectual discipline. You must move swiftly and decisively through the general awareness section to bank time. You must use logical shortcuts like the bridge sentence or the Venn diagram in reasoning. You must execute your math formulas like a well-trained chef under pressure, refusing to panic, and you must rely on your grammatical intuition and strict data extraction in English. You have the tools. Now it is just about execution.
It is absolutely a marathon that feels like a sprint. But by breaking it down step by step, by understanding the traps the examiners lay for you, we hope you feel significantly more equipped to handle the pace and command the chaos. Thank you for watching and following the winning strategies to solve various types of questions in all sections. If you enjoyed this presentation and found it useful, like it, share it with friends, and consider subscribing to our channel. Shandu Bitosphere, good luck.